Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back, and it is time for another StarCraft 2 Pro replay cast here. Today we have got a match that just caught my eye, and I thought, I gotta watch this. And honestly, when it's been a while since you cast some StarCraft, at least in my perspective, it's like, oh, I want to cast everything, you know, kind of like someone who's been on like a diet or whatever gets set unleashed in like in a candy store or something. You know how it is. But yeah, we've got ourselves a TvZ here today. It's gonna be between two incredible Korean players. Most notably, one of them a world champion, another previous champion. So darn good StarCraft 2 players, and they're both Korean. So in the top right, we have got ByuN. ByuN representing Shopify Rebellion, and in the bottom left, it's DongRaeGu representing Team NV. Yeah, I honestly was going through all the replays and I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to cast, you know? But this one I saw, I thought ByuN versus DRG, a supposedly epic game on Juggernaut, gotta watch it. But yeah, thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. Yesterday I put up the first video on the channel in a while. I won't get too much into it, but yada yada yada. I was kind of a little bit sick and then just really busy, so YouTube kind of took a bit of the back burner. But we're back now doing some awesome games, and I gotta say, you guys probably one of the best community. It's been like weeks since I uploaded or whatever, and it seems that you guys are just there to slap the heck out of that like button still, which is truly amazing for someone who does part-time YouTube. Really makes it worth it to make sure that I do a video as often as I can. But even if I don't, that you guys are still waiting for some darn good StarCraft. So yeah, thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, join the Bell Gang, join the Discord, which is linked down below, all that jazz. As far as the build goes, we have had ByuN go for an SCV Scout. The SCV is sort of preemptive towards the Reaper. Basically lets you know that there's no super early pool for the Zerg, which allows you to... Oh, that drone actually gets picked off by ByuN. Oh, that is not a good start for DongRaeGu. Yeah, that ain't too good. Probably not going to tilt DRG too much, because that's obviously happened to him before. Just, you play enough StarCraft, you're going to lose a drone in an important match, but still not great. But yeah, we take a look here. ByuN also gets the creep tumor. Okay, that's a little bit painful. As a Zerg, you can kind of just shrug your shoulders and say, okay, I lost a drone, or oh, okay, I lost a creep tumor. Losing both is really painful, and ByuN right now is probably on cloud 9. As when you're a Terran and your Reaper's doing all the work, you're like, oh, why do I make anything other than Reapers, basically? And I mean, ByuN is one of those guys who's done his fair share of making literally just Reapers, so no surprise he's darn good with the unit. Another creep tumor gets popped down. ByuN, so ambitious, actually gets it. Oh my god, that is such sick micro. Uses the KD8 charge to bounce the queens, allows the Reaper to get the creep tumor, and not just gets the creep tumor, and then gets out. DongRaeGu, while this is going on, has no idea what's coming his way, and ByuN's just gearing up to go in for a nice Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellion attack. This is a build that's somewhat common, or I say somewhat common to say that it's done a bit, but it's definitely not that common of a build. I'm not honestly a huge fan of it, because it seems that if your opponent makes roaches, you're just in a very poor spot. But that doesn't dissuade guys from ByuN doing it, particularly against someone like DRG, who might tilt more towards the Ling side of things. Lings for DongRaeGu gonna cross the map. He might actually run into these Hellions before Pre-Igniter finishes. That would actually be a very important tell for the Zerg. But in the end, he does just back off. He fires up a Baneling Nest, but it's gonna be a little bit painful for him when all these Blue Flame Hellions start diving on in. It's gonna be all on the Queens to defend this, because the Ling sure ain't gonna help. Now ByuN coming across the map, he's got all of his Hellions. He's just gonna try and dive on in. The Lings will be there to intercept, but they're gonna fall a lot quicker than you'd think. The Lings go to the high ground to deal with the Reaper, but there's the Blue Flame Hellions revealing their upgrade. The Lings do a decent job stalling the Hellions. DongRaeGu throws up an Evo Chamber, preventing the Hellions from getting on top of his precious drones. And so far, it's a bit of ring around the rosy. The Hellions do get a shot off, but we've yet to see too much damage get done. This is where things can start to compound. Those 3 more Hellions run into the natural, but ByuN not actually microing them at that exact second. DongRaeGu had Lings done in time, and the Hellions only get 5 drones, so not that much damage. As I say that, I might have spoke too soon. Okay, it looks like he's going to get himself a total of 8. But at the end of the day, for being unprepared for that, DongRaeGu did a great job defending that. Having his Lings rally out towards the 3rd base to deal with those few extra Hellions that ran in was huge, because as a Zerg, sometimes it's the couple of units or the 1 unit that you didn't notice that gets a lot of the damage done, even when you're dealing with the main force in your main base. The DongRaeGu very comfortable. Fires up his 4th hatchery, gets the Evo Chamber on the way. He's got his lair done. Baneling speed on the way, double Evo. He's just in a great spot to start things off. All the while, ByuN does have his 3rd command center on the way behind this, but the Terran is definitely behind, I'd say. We're on Juggernaut. It's a huge map. It's going to be an uphill battle for ByuN, trying to push across the map, regain map control, that kind of thing. Although it does look like he might be gearing up for a bit of another push, as he's still producing more Hellions, maybe to support an attack forward. Hellions moving forward, cleaning up some of this creep, getting what they can. Ling's gonna dive on top of these Hellions. Oh, looks like they might have flown too close to the sun there. 1 Hellion goes down, but of course, a few Lings do die in the process too. ByuN now going into Widowmine production. I mean, they will be cloaked as he's got his armory. But, yeah, still not a comfortable spot for the Terran. ByuN's throwing up his extra rack, so he's going to be going up to 5 racks production. He's got his 1-1 already on the way, so he's actually managed to secure an upgrade lead during this. But still, DongRaeGu's economy is going to be looking pretty darn good, I feel. Queen's going to be zoning out the Hellions. The Ling counterattack is getting planned. And, yeah, it's a 4-base Zerg. Creep spread starting to get out there. DongRaeGu is just continuously putting down those tumors. And when your first attack as a Terran didn't get a lot done, you are tight pressed to get more work done later on. Big counterattack being planned by DongRaeGu, or I guess just a big attack. We take a look. These Hellions still chilling out on the map, but they're not in position to help deal with these Lings. The Blue Flame Hellions for ByuN are actually going to be pivotal for defending this, but as we see, DongRaeGu just waiting to see ByuN move out on the map to pull the trigger on this counterattack. This is the classic Zerg. Zergs have been doing this one for ages, and Terrans still sometimes get caught off guard by it. ByuN, though, is keeping a decent chunk of Marines back at home. We'll see if the Banelings are able to connect on them, if he'll react. He's also got a tank at his 3rd, that's important. And DongRaeGu is just playing the patient game, as he knows, obviously, that ByuN is going to have units back at home. That's why you wait for the Terran to move out with their unit. Widowmine going to burrow. ByuN did actually research Drilling Claws based off how quick that mine burrows. Gets 11 kills in total, pretty darn good. That's partially due to a Widowmine drop at this other base here. This mine's going to burrow. A couple of Lings do sacrifice themselves, but oh, the mine actually hits the drones, bringing the total killed up to 16. That is a lot of damage. DongRaeGu knocked down to 62 drones. Is not great. He's got a 5th base on the way, which is important. And he does have a very healthy army supply. Playing just a Ling Bane composition, I'll note. That sort of says a lot, just as far as how much Zerg there is. So ByuN is still going to need to take a great trade here. Looks like DongRaeGu is actually just rolling forward. It's all on the Banelings, and by God, do they get the connections they needed, as ByuN off creep pretty much just gets rolled. There's a counterattack at his natural now. It looks like ByuN does have enough reinforcements to clean this up, as Widowmine did fire amidst all this chaos. But then Ling's getting on top of the 3rd. ByuN having to evacuate SCVs. He's got a 4th base on the way that is still producing. It's good that that wasn't cancelled. Speaking some hope in this game to ByuN. But all of a sudden it seems that DongRaeGu did just set ByuN back a bit. But at the same time, both players did take a blow. I mean, DongRaeGu, he lost the 16 drones. ByuN lost 9 SCVs. That's not a bad trade for the Terran, really. It's just that ByuN did lose most of his army out on the map. That could have been a lot better for him had he been controlling that army a little bit better, it would seem. Infestation Pit now on the way here for DongRaeGu, so he is going to be getting up to that hive. He's made a Hydralisk Den, finally getting up some tech. Probably going to be seeing lurkers. ByuN making tanks, liberators still. His 2/2's on the way. DongRaeGu neglected to start up his Carapace, so he's actually going to be at an upgrade deficit this game. He's still on a pretty solid economy, but yeah, a bit of a painful situation here for DongRaeGu based on being down that upgrade. He's gonna have to make something happen this game, I feel, in order to come back, whether that is another big engagement that ByuN's not quite ready for, or if he'll just have to counterattack a bunch. Because, yeah, ByuN is getting set up and is kind of just playing the pace that he wants to play here. Send out Widow Mine drops, that kind of thing. Get him a 4th base, produce lots of tanks and such. I will say though, creep spread of DongRaeGu is fantastic at this point. We see how far out it is reaching on the right. ByuN's trying to get a drop off, but there's really no way to surprise the Zerg. Couple of extra refineries are now on the way for ByuN. 5th CC on the way. I'll note that's very important. Sometimes Terran will delay that, seemingly a little bit too long. So having that on the way is great. Interestingly enough, there's grass under those boulders. Never really noticed that, do you? There's the grass under these boulders. We'll see soon. As ByuN, well, we might not see soon as ByuN's pushing across the map. Yeah, we don't see. Darn. Alright, ByuN moving out on the map with just bio. Gonna have to be careful not to overstep. DongRaeGu, though, getting up all of his tech. I mean, right now his production tab looks a little bit intimidating, but really it does take a minute for all this to come into effect. After that minute, though, there's going to be Adrenal Glands, there's going to be that Carapace upgrade, Missile Attack, Seismic Spines, Vipers out. Life's going to get a bit more difficult here for ByuN, as DongRaeGu's composition is looking pretty darn good. The Terran is going to have to start hunkering down, playing that late game style. Random Widow Mines out on the map are always good. ByuN's trying to re-secure up his 5th base. He's also getting up a couple more CCs. I really enjoy this. As the Terran, you pretty much always have to have a spare CC on the way, and sometimes pros will neglect to do that. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh hey, I wish I had one more base that I could land over. Yeah, I really like how ByuN's doing this. We'll see if he's just going to keep that production up or not. Ghosts are on the way now for the Terrans. He's rather wealthy, so ByuN can make a lot of these ghosts. All the while the Zerg, also very wealthy. These two players really just feeling each other out. DongRaeGu got up a Nidus Worm, Worm 2 actually. Great that he's thinking of being offensive to ByuN, but ByuN is well aware of this. Well aware of the threat of Nidus. He's got 8 Marines in his main, a couple of turrets. A beautiful looking base, by the way, for ByuN. Look at how these racks are lined up. You never get this when I'm playing a game of Starcraft. They're all just all over the place. ByuN now looking for a drop towards the bottom right, cleaning some creep. It's probably going to cost him a planetary fortress, though. And it does. Adrenal Gland Lings, even without +3 attack, tear through those pretty darn fast. So if there's no SCVs to repair them, they're just done. The Nidus Worm and the Nidus Hand does get revealed, but ByuN will shut that down no problem. ByuN gonna be re-establishing this base here. He's got a lot of extra CCs on the way, so no biggie losing that. He did make this one a PF, which I love. He's making 3 tanks at a time. And if there's a strong enough tank presence, this will force the Zerg's hand to go into Broodlords pretty much. I know Vipers are good, but when there's Ghosts, and then just a ton of tanks, along with the Vikings, it's just not enough to make Vipers work, it would seem. you can get pickoffs, but as far as taking a big engagement, it ain't that straightforward. Looks like there is going to be a tank that gets caught. Vipers move forward. Turret doing work on the Vipers, actually, so it looks like all the Vipers are going to die, along with some snipes there. More snipes going to hit the Zerg army on the way out, but I mean, that wasn't too bad for DongRaeGu. He picked off a couple of tanks. He killed the planetary fortress, which definitely isn't cheap. At the same time, he did lose 3 Vipers, so maybe that wasn't that good, but I'm not going to say it was a complete wash. The Zerg going to be trying to get up this base. I absolutely love this. Any resources you mine on your opponent's side of the map will just make your life better in the long run. So if you can sneak it, transfer all your drones over there. Mine out the farther distance bases first. It's definitely not that easy in practice, but as we're about to see, ByuN moves forward. He says, no, that's my base. But DongRaeGu says, actually, it's my base. As he's going to move forward, he's going to clean out these turrets. Banelings roll forward, hit some of the ghosts. DongRaeGu will have to retreat, though, as all of his Banes have been spent. And that wasn't the best fight for him. Not terrible once again, but definitely not a fight he won, and that's going to let ByuN cancel this base or kill it. Looks like it was a kill. The Zerg moving in. Hydra's eating tank shots. Ghost's going to come in and snipe. Yeah, this is looking a little bit painful for DongRaeGu now. We've got a nuke on the way for ByuN. A couple of starports on the way too. I'll say I'm quite amazed by how passive ByuN's being. Like, usually when you think of ByuN, you think of dropping all over the place, but he is playing quite a nice defensive TvZ, pardon me. He's got this base as an orbital command, which I find quite surprising, not making it a PF. Maybe he plans to drop one down there or something. ByuN replacing this planetary fortress, I do enjoy that. The Zerg's pretty much spread creep as far as you possibly can, but then you do start to wonder, what is the next step here for DongRaeGu? Like, the tanks are just in such a high count that the Vipers and Hydras and Banes can't deal with it. So it makes you think, okay, we're going to need to see some Broodlords. The problem with Broodlords is that they're so darn slow, and you can't really catch Terran off guard with them. Like, right now, ByuN's like, yeah, you're not making any Broodlords, but the second that DongRaeGu starts, ByuN's gonna know. He'll up his Viking production, most likely. He might even throw away some of his tanks preemptively. ByuN right now, as we speak, is sacking SCVs to get that higher army supply to take even better fights. Creep on this base is good. All the while ByuN is being denied this base as well, so no 6 base for the Terran, that's important. DongRaeGu, though, not going to be able to get this up, but if he can play a game out in which he prevents the Terran from getting up one more base, that would be huge. If he can just mine out all of his own bases, take trades against the Terran, prevent the Terran from mining all of his resources. It's very ambitious for DongRaeGu to take this base, but it's almost like just saying towards the Terran, yeah, I'm taking this base, and that basically just means that you're not. ByuN gonna stim down to the bottom right. We'll see if DongRaeGu cancels that. He does. Greater Spire is now on the way, as we do have to see those Broodlords come out eventually. We'll see how well DongRaeGu is going to utilize them, what time he'll decide to make them. He's also got Neural on the way. Not a bad decision. A fungal or two could go a long way. Really, though, he is just waiting for ByuN to make a misstep. Parasitic Bomb hits the Medivac. That's nicely done. ByuN has split off. The Queens have been brought to the front, just spewing down creep everywhere. I really like this usage by DongRaeGu. They can also transfuse. Fourth base, or pardon me, planetary fortress on the way here. The Lurkers repositioned so quickly for the Terran, but we do see ByuN step forward, getting some snipes off on the Zerg army, killing whatever he can. A nuke now being called on in. Those Lurkers going to have to reposition, or that Ghost's going to have to be killed. looks like DongRaeGu is going to opt for the latter, going to kill that ghost. Lots of banelings roll forward. He's going to crash into that PF. Kills the sensor tower, the PF. Costs him quite a bit. But, I mean, he didn't leave completely empty-handed. And all you have to think about is the trajectory that this game is on. DongRaeGu has been taking trades. They're not terrible. They're not so awful that it's like he's playing the worst game of Starcraft in his life. No, he's taken okayish trades. And the question is, will these trades be okayish enough as he grabs 3 ghosts? That was great. That as long as he prevents ByuN taking one of these bases, he might be able to win out in the long run. And that's the question. The efficiency. Is he being efficient enough? So far, I'd say yes. Very close. It's close and tough to tell. We'll see. That could easily change as this game goes on. We do see the lurkers surge forward, though. Viper's moving on in. Overseer's moving too, but DongRaeGu quickly regrets that engagement. He's got to retreat. Going to lose a lot of units on the way out. Going to lose a Viper too, even. The Zerg turns around to try and dive on top of this army, but ByuN just having the PF to retreat to is huge. And that went very sour for the Zerg. He was behind about 7k. Now he's behind about 10k resources lost. So quite a bad trade there. Okay, let's take a look here. We see +3 attack on the way for the Zerg, so getting those flyer upgrades for if he eventually goes into Corruptors, but so far no indication DongRaeGu wants to do that. He's going to hit this location before the Planetary's done rebuilding. That's a nice timing. He's got to be careful about overcommitting too much. The Ling's getting on top of some of the ghosts, even abducting some of them, but of course they're getting sniped off all the while. ByuN not really losing too much. Baneling's going to settle for what they can, but really not getting that much. The ghost just back away from the Banes, and that was an okayish trade for DongRaeGu. I mean, it didn't set him back any further in the resources lost, so that's actually what we have to be looking at right now. Ship weapons on the way for ByuN, so getting that. You want to get all the upgrades basically eventually as the game goes on. ByuN is setting up this base, but now we see double Nidus from DongRaeGu in the main base. ByuN does react to repositions those units, going to kill those off. This is a troubling sign here for DongRaeGu. ByuN being able to establish this base up. We see there's turrets galore all over the place. Sensor tower, planetary fortress to fall back on, planetary fortress here. This is not going to be an easy break for DongRaeGu. And with ByuN securing up this base, he's secured himself a lot longer in this game. DongRaeGu is going to elect to try and get up this location. If he can start mining from there, that would be significant. And it would change the ratio of things, but the way things stand, if ByuN secures up this base, neither player secures up this base, then that could lead to a ByuN victory. It's still too close to tell, it would seem, but we see DongRaeGu now going to move on in. He's really hammering this right location, possibly so he can try and secure up that right base, but as we see the Vipers moving in, they're not getting too much done. The PF does get broken down once again. The sensor tower is up, though, and that does reveal for ByuN that there is a base there, most likely. ByuN doesn't have unlimited gas, though. We're now starting to see a ton of Corruptors on the way, and we're going to see if DongRaeGu is going to be able to pull a fast one. We see no Infestors on the way for the Zerg, but Broodlord potential is on the way. DongRaeGu's setting up Spore Crawlers. This is where he's going to try and draw a line in the sand against his opponent. And that could be a very important one. We do see the ghosts, though, coming on in. They're going to snipe away some of the lurkers. And this is actually going to be a very abysmal trade, it would seem. As the ghost should just be able to pick off these lurkers, really. Tanks getting shots off on the lurkers. DongRaeGu does fall back. You pretty much want to transfer drones here as soon as you possibly can, just to mine out any resources that are possible. Like, if you're DongRaeGu, I think you transfer these drones up there right away. If you're feeling that you can even mine a little bit from the base. More so than the drones are worth. Now we see 12 Broodlords on the way. ByuN is scanning this. The Broodlords are being morphed on the very front here, though, or at the very back, so it's going to take a while for him to get up here. This is going to give ByuN lots of heads up. He elects to make it Thor, interestingly enough. ByuN realizes that he does not want DongRaeGu to establish up the space. He's going to use a nuke to break the location. That's going to be huge. There's the snipes hitting the lurkers. Great EMPs hitting infestors, vipers. The nuke's going to land. Spore Crawler is going to have to retreat. By God, ByuN is really giving it to DongRaeGu right now. DongRaeGu throwing away a ton of resources, fighting to try and hold on to this base. If he gives this up, I think he's probably going to lose the game in the long run. He's now going to move forward with his Broodlords, so hoping ByuN's not ready, and I don't think ByuN is ready. Great Fungals comboing it down with this. The Broodlords are fully upgraded, keep in mind, so they're doing work. A lot of the ghosts for ByuN did perish there. Those are not cheap to replace. He's starved on gas, or not starved, but running out. He's only getting up these refineries now. He needed those yesterday. As ByuN is actually not maxed out now. He's limited by his gas. DongRaeGu has got up this location. He's even mining a bit of gas from here. That's great for him. He's got up all these spores. He took a great fight, and that really evened things up a lot. Like a tremendous deal. That was a great fight for DongRaeGu. ByuN's got Thors, he's got Ghosts still, but I don't know if he's got enough to challenge these Broodlords. Broodlord Infestor Viper is no joke of a composition. Alright, Spore Crawler's repositioning. Ghost stepping forward, Fungal's getting tossed on out. ByuN, I mean, is kind of just being bullied by DongRaeGu. DongRaeGu still just mining the gas at this base. I'm curious to see if he's going to transfer drones down there at some point to try and mine anything that he can. ByuN, of course, wants to shut down this base. He's actually going to sack his tanks here, it would look like, realizing that they're not going to help against Broodlords. They're just dead supply, and that's honestly a worthwhile trade, I think. Yeah, a great trade by ByuN. He might not even lose the tanks in this process, and then he can use them again. DongRaeGu's busy microing on this front. Fungal's getting tossed down. Snipes, though, are starting to blanket the Zerg army, getting some damage done. There's really not a lot of ghosts going down during this. The Broodlords are being pushed away. DongRaeGu's all of a sudden down in supply by about 30. All of his Broodlords going down. The Snipes, the Thors, the Vikings just killing this Broodlord composition, and there's suddenly not a lot for the Zerg here. I don't know what DongRaeGu needs to make here. 64 lings, that's something. That's fodder that he needs. There we go, more lurkers on the way. 100 lings on the way, but now we see ByuN. He's not just killed this space, he's going to be securing it up. And the resources lost just tanked for DongRaeGu. He's down about 20,000 resources. A minute ago, it was 10,000. Just goes to show how one bad fight at this stage of the game can really cripple you. If ByuN secures up this base, it's pretty much over, I think. So we're going to see DongRaeGu sally forth, try and break this location. He needs a win. He's going for it. He's getting on top of the tanks. Lurkers moving forward. There's just so many turrets, though, so much static defense. The PF is holding. DongRaeGu, I think, has spent himself here as ByuN holds on to this base. The turrets worked wonders, the Liberators, everything. And it's just an unkillable Terran army at this point. ByuN's pacing this game has been perfect. Once it went into the late game, ByuN realized the efficiency was where it's at. He's stepping on creep now, very, very greedy, or ambitious to do this, but he's just feeling that confident. Loses a couple ghosts in the process, but he can afford that. DongRaeGu can't. We see the Zerg is broke, making 14 Corruptors. It's going to have to be a miracle fight for DongRaeGu to win this game. And honestly, ByuN stepping on creep there could have been it, but DongRaeGu wasn't ready. His Broodlords hadn't finished morphing. He had a lot more units in production. And yeah, I don't think ByuN's going to give DongRaeGu the fight that he needs. ByuN teased DongRaeGu a little bit there by stepping on creep, but now we see him sitting back, scanning once more. And this was a great late game TvZ. I know you guys might be like, oh, DongRaeGu's not dead, but I'm pretty sure DongRaeGu's dead here, guys. Unless he gets the miracle fight, which players just don't tend to give up too much these days. Like, ByuN knows how he needs to win this game. He's stepping forward, he's pressuring DongRaeGu, he's using a nuke, that's cute. But if he steps too far forward on creep, I'll be rather shocked. A nuke's gonna go down. DongRaeGu's actually sitting by the nuke. Oh my god, it's not gonna land. Holy cow, that ghost did get killed off. That was real close. DongRaeGu's pushing forward, though. He knows he's got no option. Yeah, we see Broodlords working away in this command center, gonna kill that. Blinding Clouds are beautiful, as a matter of fact. Even neural parasiting a Thor. The Blinding Clouds were absolutely massive. More Fungals going down. The Corruptors doing what they can. A Liberator fighting for DongRaeGu's. That's been neural parasited. Thors as well. Great spellcaster usage by DRG. The Broodlord's doing work. ByuN's army is starting to falter a little bit here. I mean, this is a pretty solid fight for DongRaeGu. Broodlord's doing what they can, but all of a sudden the Zerg turns tail and runs as he ran out of buffer for his army. There's still a lot of ghosts here. It's all on the Broodlords pretty much, but Broodlords against ghosts, not a fight for the Broodlords. The snipes go down. There's just not enough spells. GG gets called, and ByuN is able to take the game just like that after 30 minutes of TvZ. By gosh. Casting a game like this is one way to dive back into it. So hopefully my voice wasn't too bad, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in. Join the Discord. It's linked down below. Hit the like button. Slap the like button. Let's try and hit 50 likes on this video if you stayed to the end. Leave a comment letting me know how you say Jagannatha or something like that. Or just what you had for breakfast this morning, you know? But yeah. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. I'll see you next time. My name is LaughNgamez.